Today we're going to talk about one of my most kind of favorite topics, which is mindfulness. And today I'm here with a very, very inspiring, amazing, fantastic expert I've met on LinkedIn a couple of months ago. I kept following his posts and his content. He's doing such a great job in raising awareness about mindfulness at work. And then I reached out, and a couple of months later, here we are working together in Oxygen, an urban yoga lab. So for all our partners and clients, you're more than welcome to contact us and to let us know if you would like to work with Andy. So his name is Andy Hicks. And Andy, thank you so much for accepting my invitation for this interview.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
So exciting. Because some of you might be wondering, what is the Today interview all about? I see it like not just an interview, but more like a discussion. So for us, the topic today is 5 ways to be more mindful at work, right? So how to be more mindful at work. And this is something, as a question I get it from employers I work with all the time. Before we start diving into this topic, I want to share a few information because you might be curious about Andy and his background. So Andy is an entrepreneur. He's a well-being coach and a community builder. He's passionate about certain things that have helped him live a healthier, happier, more kind of fulfilled, balanced life. So he's a qualified mindfulness trainer and has taught at organizations such as Credit Suisse, JP Morgan, Lloyds Bank, and Deloitte. He also teaches at schools and prisons, offers one-to-one coaching, and writes a blog and hosts a podcast called Reimagining the World. So the intention of his work is to create a more beautiful world in which people recognize the interconnection between each other and the world around them. I find this mini kind of bio of yours, like, that describes so beautifully all the amazing things you do. However, there's so many more that I'm like really keen to discuss today. For those of you also who don't know me, I'm Alexandra Kafka. I'm the founder of Urban Yoga Lab and Oxygen as an occupational health provider based here in the UK. Delivering our services to more than 50 corporates worldwide, businesses like Royal Bank of Canada, Wells Fargo, Soho House. So I've been very excited launching this brand and being in this journey for the last 2.5 years. And now we're ready to take our services to the next level via our platform to offer wellness classes and workshops and webinars for employees who work from home, hybrid employees. So my mission is for the next year, to help more than 3,000 HRs to empower their employees with innovative well-being solutions to find the best version of themselves. So today, as I said before, the topic is about mindfulness. And I want to ask you, Adi, what mindfulness means to you. Why is this an important, integral part in everything you do?
Okay, well, I would say that a definition that is often used to understand what mindfulness actually means, because I think it's a word that people use a lot and don't necessarily know what does it mean to do something mindfully. But one of the really common definitions that gets used is that it's paying attention on purpose to the present moment and letting go of judgment. So it's not something that you just do for 5 minutes a day or 20 minutes a day, do your mindful practice and that's it. It's actually a way of life. But when I started practicing mindfulness and meditation, my whole experience of being alive changed, which is quite a big thing to say. The word life-changing, the term life-changing gets used a lot, but this really was something that was profoundly life-changing. And I had this sort of insight, this sort of penny drop moment that so much of my life I wasn't paying attention on purpose to the present moment. I was thinking about the future. where I was thinking about the past and therefore living in my head, living in my thoughts, as opposed to in life as it's unfolding moment by moment. And not only was I not paying attention to the present moment, but I was often judging myself, other people, the world as being wrong, not good enough, not how I wanted to be. So I was rarely in the present moment and always judging. And so mindfulness is about how can you be more in the present moment and let go of judgment.
I love what you just said, because the other day I was watching a TED talk where there was a professor, whose name is Sona Sapiro, who described how difficult it is to be present. And I loved what she said. At some point, she said that actually, scientifically speaking, 47% of time our mind wanders. 47% of time we're not present. And that's why she mentioned that's why it's so important to implement and have mindfulness at work as a day to day kind of thing for employees to be able to learn how to be present, because it's such a shame when we waste half of our lives being not present, being somewhere else. So we do not enjoy our lives. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I think I know what study she's referring to. And in the study, not only did it find that people about half the time were not paying attention to what they were doing, but that when their mind was just wandering, when they were daydreaming, when their mind was just off paying attention to something other than the present moment, they were actually less happy.
Mm.
So it's not just about productivity or stress management, it's about actually having a happier life.
That's amazing, because that's a different kind of angle and another way to see what does it mean to be present, really. So in terms of meditation, according to John Kabat-Zinn, and this is my favorite definition of mindfulness, is very similar to the one that you mentioned earlier, to be at the present moment, in a purpose, with no attachment, and be present, as we said before. So for me, mindfulness was always my way to learn how to navigate stress and anxiety, but also heal myself after burnout. So the first time I heard about mindfulness was when I was a PR executive working in a PR agency here in London. I was a workaholic. I was suffering from digital addiction. I didn't know how to deal with stress and anxiety at all. And I was resisting those kind of emotions up until the point a mentor pointed out to me towards a mindfulness coach, and he said to me, "You know what? I truly believe that this will be one of the greatest gifts that you will ever receive in your life, the gift of mindfulness." And to be honest, for me, that was a life changing kind of period of time when I immersed myself into this world. But what was the critical moment for you when that was the moment when, for the first time, you experienced mindfulness, and what was the impact of that in your life?
Well, I think it's important to recognize that even if we don't think we are practicing mindfulness, we all have had the experience of doing something mindfully in our lives. Children, they basically just live life in the present moment, kind of like dogs do. Maybe it's not very appropriate to compare children to dogs, but you look at a small child and they're just fascinated by a leaf, or they really pay attention to the food that they're eating. It's just a natural thing for them to be present and to be not judging things all the time. So we all have had that experience when we're really engaged in something, be watching a film, be playing sport, listening to music, being moved by something, where we're really just absorbed in the experience and not thinking about it, judging it, or thinking about something different. But when I started to actually consciously practice it was in my late 20s. And my spiritual awakening happened in Tenerife at an all-inclusive holiday, surrounded by tattooed British people drinking lager out of plastic cups at 9 in the morning. And I was on holiday with 3 friends. And at this point in my life, I had no interest at all in meditation. In fact, I was kind of anti-meditation. I found it. I just thought of it as being something that was unscientific, and therefore I was not interested at all. And my first passion when I was at university was climate change, and I thought, if we don't stop climate change, if we don't avoid all the catastrophes that are going to happen as a result, what's the point of doing anything else? And so I really committed my life for several years to being a climate activist. And when you're a climate activist, your allies, your support, the evidence for what you're saying being true and for us needing to act is science. And your enemy are the people who are anti-science. And we often associated those as activists with the people who are in oil companies and gas companies and coal companies, countries like Saudi Arabia or Russia, who were trying to stop action on climate change by questioning the science, even though supposedly 99.9% of scientists all said the same thing. So this was a period of my life where I really saw that science, trusting science, could be a life or death issue for us as a species. And so things that were anti-science made me angry. And I saw things like meditation, which my mum was into, by the way. Meditation, she loved homeopathy, Reiki, these things. I just thought, it's bullshit. It doesn't work. Why would you do that instead of something that has scientific evidence? And one of the things that's changed, two big things that have changed since getting into mindfulness. One, I've become a lot more open-minded. So things that I thought were complete bullshit before, I'm much more willing to be curious about and give a try, including things like homeopathy and Reiki and alternative medicines. I'm not so dogmatic. And I've also come to understand that meditation isn't anti-science, that actually there's a huge amount of science and the number of studies being done into the positive effect of mindfulness is going up exponentially. Every year there are more and more studies showing its efficacy in treating things like depression, anxiety, insomnia, all sorts of things.
Speaking of science, I'm a big fan of people like super amazing experts like Dr. Joe Dispenza, but also neuroscientist Richard J. Davidson. For those of you who don't know these experts, both they believe that and they suggest that meditation can actually change our brain, and based on the idea of neuroplasticity. So it's really interesting what you said before, that there's so many people that feel like meditation, like it's not a proven, scientifically speaking, proven method to help with stress, anxiety, depression. That luckily enough, we have all these amazing neuroscientists who year after year they publish amazing research and reports and studies that will show the power of meditation.
Yes.
How meditation can be a game changer. And I just want to share with you a few things I've read about Dr. Richard Davidson. He said that actually mindfulness can help us, scientifically speaking, as evidence-based, can help us to build resilience. And especially he spoke about people who are more vulnerable to stress and anxiety and depression can find such a benefit in that meditation and practicing mindfulness. Also, he mentioned that our brains constantly shaping and changing. So he said that we have very little awareness of the change that happens around us, the uncertainty, the fears, our emotions. We're so much unaware. So when we practice mindfulness, we become better aware of how does the stress, the anxiety, the fear feels in our bodies, and we're more able to learn how to stay with those emotions, process those emotions, and then let them go instead of resisting emotions. Because that was my personal story for such a long time working in the corporate world. I was suffering from chronic stress and anxiety. Every single time I was getting stressed and anxious, I wasn't telling to anyone, and I was trying to kind of fake it, like, oh no, everything is great, everything is. I never stress. I'm always in control, and I was trying to. First, I wasn't aware. Second, I wasn't accepting the emotion itself, and third, I didn't access any kind of way, like through somatics or meditation or breathing, to process these emotions. So that's that was the gift of mindfulness in my life. It's not like I don't get stressed. People think like, oh, you're a corporate well-being coach. That means you have everything figured out. It's not like that. I do get stressed and I do get anxious, and there's nothing wrong about it. And now I know it thanks to mindfulness. It is okay to say, you know what, today I'm stressed.
Mm.
I'm gonna breathe a little bit deeper. I'm gonna take some time at the end of the day to stay with those emotions and let them move through the body. And that's why I love yoga, because that's my way to experience those type of emotions.
I just wanted to share a little story that I was working with a client yesterday who she's actually retired now, but she had a corporate career in sales. And she said in her business school, she was taught by a woman, I think it was a business school for women, better to die than cry. Better to die than cry. So their message for women in business was do not show your emotion. Do not get upset. Do not cry. Suppress it.
Yes.
Push it down. Pretend you're fine all the time.
Yes. Yes, that was the story of my life for so many years. You just said.
It's just not healthy, is it? It leads to burnout. It leads to people not being able to cope.
Yeah.
And another way to sum up what mindfulness is all about is asking two different questions, one after the other. First question, what am I experiencing? Second question, can I be okay with it? So often we go through life, we're so busy, we don't even realize that we're stressed, we don't realize we're anxious. The first question is, well, what am I? Oh yeah, okay, I'm realizing I'm experiencing anxiety right now. Second question, can I be okay with it? So often, particularly in the corporate world, also as men, we're taught from a very young age that if you cry, you're a girl. You know, it's very shaming. You get shamed for showing emotion or crying, being anxious, being worried, being sad as a man. It's not okay. And so we learn that to internalize this idea that I'm not okay with me having emotions. And we're trying to deprogram that with mindfulness and remind ourselves again and again and again that it's okay, as you said. I feel anxious, and that's okay. I feel stressed, that's okay. I'm annoyed right now, that's okay. And it takes a lot of training for most of us. We've been programmed from a very young age that it's not okay.
Yes, and that's the beauty of mindfulness and meditation, that can help us to reprogram our mind and learn how to be in control of how our mind works, but in a way that includes self-acceptance, compassion, self-love, all those emotions which are, oh, as you said, like in the corporate world, in many cases, people feel ashamed to be that way, to show vulnerability. So my question to you, Andy, is a question I get all the time from corporates we work with, is what are the three main reasons why an SME or a corporate to decide to practice mindfulness and to bring mindfulness into their employee well-being offer? What are the main reasons? Why is somebody to care about mindfulness support?
Well, there are so many reasons. A quote that comes to mind is something like the quality of an intervention is determined by the internal state of the intervener. So if I want to do anything, if I want to start a business, if I want to be more successful as a manager, if I want to be successful in sport, the success that I have will be determined by my internal state. Am I in a constant state of self-criticism and anxiety and stress and burnout? Or am I calm, focused, kind, compassionate, collaborative? Am I self-aware? All of these things are things that you can develop through mindfulness training. So all of the things that are most important for you to succeed in business, for people in your team to succeed, you can train through mindfulness. You can train yourself to be more able to focus, therefore be more productive. You can train yourself to be more resilient. Never have we needed probably more to be more resilient. There's so much stress and anxiety about what's going on in the world at the moment. It can also help with creativity. We need creative solutions to challenges that we face in the world at the moment. And I think increasingly we're realizing that in business and our culture in general, we've been living in a very individualistic way. And mindfulness is a way to firstly connect with ourselves, but then it in turn helps us to connect with people around us, with our teams, with our family, have stronger relationships, which means that we're not only more resilient, but going to be able to perform better and thrive more at work. So I think I gave you a few more than you asked for, but
you
there's
did.
lots.
Yes, this is a lot. And to be honest, one of our most popular kind of workshops that they are so much in demand, that is mindful eating. And it's because of what you just said, because why is this workshop employees come together, and it's such a team bonding activity where it brings a sense of belonging, where everybody feels like they're part of the same community and the same team. But you mentioned earlier something about challenges, and I work with many businesses, and what I see over and over again as the challenges within 2022 is the living cost kind of crisis. I see the employees who work from home, who are in this kind of toxic productivity mode. I see a lot of people who belong in the Gen Z generation suffering from mental health issues and being at risk of burnout. And these are the kind of main challenges I see, and I feel that the services and the offerings we provide are just for those kind of challenges, and to help HRs and business leaders to learn how to respond to those challenges. But what are the kind of challenges you see as a corporate well-being expert with your clients? What are the main challenges you see as kind of more important and kind of top priority for HRs to focus on?
I would say that, I think that I actually recently did a sort of survey with my mailing list, and I got people to respond to me and say, what is your biggest challenge at the moment? And most common things, anxiety. Almost everyone said that was their biggest thing. Some people said it was anxiety about work or money or their relationship, but it was all basically fear. I think there's a lot of fear around at the moment.
So much uncertainty. And every single time I interact with employees, especially from big corporations in finance and legal practices, one of the things that I get all the time is that they ask me to give them some evidence-based, actionable, easy to follow tips that they can incorporate into their day-to-day kind of lifestyle. So if I was an employee, I would ask you, like, Andy, what do you think? What are the 3 main tips that I can do today to start taking care of my well-being and my mental health? What would you recommend?
3 tips. Okay. Well, the Dalai Lama actually says that the best form of meditation is actually sleep. And
I've noticed this before.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Inspiring. I love sleeping.
a lot of us love sleeping.
I
A lot of us.
taking naps. I just love it.
Do you feel like you get enough sleep then?
I think that's how I spend my weekends lately. And I recommend my clients and the employees of my clients to, when they have a weekend, to do anything they like, is to go and dive into deep self-care. And part of it is living.
Yeah, absolutely. It's probably one of the best things you can do for your mental health, your physical health, There are even studies that show that we snap less when we've slept better. People who haven't had enough sleep eat 200 calories more per day on average. Tends to be that when we're tired, we just see everything as being very negative. We've got no patience, we've got no resilience. Everything is just more overwhelming. So my number one thing would be to get 7.5 to 8 hours sleep. Again, from the corporate world, and maybe a sort of machismo thing, a Margaret Thatcher and a Ronald Reagan thing is like sleep as little as possible, work as much as possible. Sleep is a waste of time, it's unproductive.
Grinding and hustling, right?
Yes,
kind of
exactly.
mindset.
Exactly. But actually, when you sleep enough, your performance improves, you get more done, you're more creative. You can't perform well if you haven't had enough sleep. And also, you can't meditate very well with enough sleep. So that's my second one. So when the first thing I would say, prioritize sleep. The second one is to start with a very small meditation habit. So when I'm working with people one-to-one, I suggest that they start with doing 5 minutes in the morning. And I give them a recording to listen to. They have a guide to doing the process. And just try and make it very small and very manageable. So it's hard for you to say to yourself, I don't have time today. And after a while, after you've made that 5 minutes a day habit, then you can start to build up to 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And that will have a longer term impact. It'll have much more impact on the rest of your day than when you're just doing 5 minutes. But I suggest that people start with a small amount just to kind of get in the habit. That's the thing that people find the hardest, is making it a regular thing.
Yes. So the consistency kind of thing is the hardest. And to my clients, I normally say that if you really struggle with consistency, one of the best things to do is to find an accountability body.
I agree.
An accountability body, and make this your daily kind of ritual morning routine. And you know what? Sometimes you can also try to do this as a challenge between you and an accountability body. And the first person who doesn't continue with this challenge, loses the bet, or you do this again. It doesn't need to. Yeah, it doesn't need to take themselves very seriously and like try to sit for 30 minutes. No, this is not applicable to everyone. Not every single person can be in a seated meditation. There are people who will need to try different methods to find what works best for them, and that's why it's so important to listen to our intuition and be open and listen to what ourself really needs. Be in contact with the body, with the mind, our emotions. So my last question.
I've only given you 2 tips so far.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. Sorry, I didn't realize.
So I was going to actually reinforce what you said earlier about the mindful eating, because so often we can think of mindfulness as something extra we need to do every day. But actually, we can live our whole day in a state of presence and acceptance. Ideally, that's what we're trying to aim for. And so it's really good to try and apply it to all things that you're doing already. So, for example, eating your lunch, having a shower, brushing your teeth. Can you remind yourself to be very present as you're doing it? What does that mean? Or, for example, when you're brushing your teeth, can you pay attention to the sensations of the brush, the taste of the mint, the smell of the mint? Be present to the process of brushing the teeth rather than thinking, what am I going to do when I finish brushing my teeth? What do I need to do tomorrow? So often when we're in the shower in the morning, we're at work already because our mind has already gone to the first meeting, the second meeting. So trying to do the things that you do already, brushing your teeth, having a shower, eating lunch, with more presence, more attentiveness.
So we feel more grounded.
Yeah.
And we feel more in the flow and experience the present moment, moment by moment. And that's how I feel now talking with you, and in every single time I talk with you, I feel like I am fully present just because you bring this vibes of calmness, and I love it. So that's another thing I want to say for people who might be a little bit hesitant or skeptical to practice mindfulness. it's not just about you, but it's also about the people who surround you. They will experience the benefits by just sitting next to you, by interacting with you. They will feel calmer and they will feel more inspired, they will feel more grounded. And this is a gift, not mindfulness, you can give to yourself, but also to others. So,
absolutely agree.
Amazing. So, my last question is, can you tell us more about the work you do with businesses and how employees can benefit from your own programs?
Well, I run a few different workshops, which tend to be very popular. The ones that are most popular are 3 ways to calm an anxious mind. So I share with people 3 mindfulness-based techniques to reduce their anxiety. Some of them are very short, like you can do it in 30 seconds. Some of them are a bit longer, like 10 minutes. So all of the workshops that I do are very practical based, giving people tools that they can take away and use. Another one that's very popular is how to say no. So a lot of us feel, I'm wondering if there are people out there listening who feel like they're too busy, they've got too much to do. And
I used to be one of them.
right.
Sure.
and it leads to burnout. For a lot of people, it leads to, if not burnout, to being really exhausted and feeling overwhelmed. And so much of that is doing things for others, not doing them for ourselves. And often people can find it very difficult to say, no, I can't do that, or I can't do that straight away. So this workshop is about how to be more boundary, which creates more time, more space for yourself, means you can be less stressed and less overwhelmed. I also do a session, mindfulness for better sleep. A lot of people struggle with getting sleep every night, and they wake up in the night anxious about something. So it's giving people some practical techniques and specific sleep meditation to help them be able to switch off and relax. And I also do a workshop, which I feel very passionate about, called How to Save the World Mindfully. So that includes my experience of being an activist, where I was trying, it sounds ridiculous to say it, but trying to change the world, trying to save the world. Almost felt like I was trying to do it single-handedly. And what I've learned about mindfulness, how I apply that to environmentalism. How do you try to do your bit for the planet, for climate change, and use mindfulness at the same time?
This is such a cool, especially the last one, but this is a series of different type of workshops and webinars that businesses can implement, and they can see the benefits from day one. And I speak from my personal experience. It happens to be to experience Andy's workshop. I had an amazing tester a month and a half ago, and it was an incredible experience. Very relaxing, very distressing kind of thing, and also to help me to feel more open. And sometimes, when we are in a situation with surrounded by uncertainty, it's so easy for us to, be like that's my coping mechanism, to isolate myself. But when I practice mindfulness, and especially with experts like you, I feel open to share how I really feel and open to receive. So yeah, I highly recommend your programs, especially the last one. I'm really intrigued to find out more about the environment and mindfulness, because I feel those two topics can be perfectly nicely combined and blended into one single kind of program. So, for those of you who want to find out more about your services, you can definitely reach out to me directly, to our Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Uh, you can email us at info@urbanyogalab.com. But what else? If somebody wants to connect with you, ask you a question, where can they find you?
I've got a website, Andy Hicks, that's Hicks with an X.com. So that's probably the easiest thing. Just type in my name, Andy Hicks, and you find my website, andyhicks.com.
Amazing. And for those of you who want to book one of the programs, to reserve one of the programs, the upcoming programs, you can definitely connect with me via LinkedIn, Alexandra Kafka, as the founder of Urban Yoga Lab. And I look forward to talk with all of you and share more information about what we offer. How would you like us to close this interview? Is there something that you would like to share?
Well, one of the ways that I like to close my meditations is if you just close your eyes for a moment and feel your breath. Just center yourself in your body by feeling your breathing. Sometimes it's said that mindfulness rests on the tip of intention. So my question is, what is your intention for the rest of the day? How do you want to be? How do you feel? What is your intention for the rest of the day? Open your eyes again.
I couldn't think of any better way to close this interview, and I'm so happy that for those of you who are watching, but also for those of you who will watch later, I hope you had a great time, and also I will see you in the next one. Who knows? Maybe we need to do a part 2.
I think it might be a good idea.
I would love that. So have a beautiful rest of the week, everyone, and see you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks a lot for watching.